Alrighty, here's an update on all my Datsuns. So as you can tell, I've got a bed made for it, or at least started to be made for it. I got some 2x6s that cut down to 75.5 inches, which is almost perfect, leaving a little gap between the bed and the cab, so there's no noises and rubbing that I have to listen to all the time. I ordered some steel trailer fenders for 14-inch rim tires that will be going in this area here. And I need to trim this board down, obviously, but I wanted to wait until the fenders get here so I'm not cutting way more than I think I need, because that's what I think I did here. So I'll have to add some back, probably, but it won't be the worst. Worst comes to worst, I go buy another 2x6 and split it, make a new board for each side. I did get a little work done on the interior. I do have the bucket seat mounted in here, albeit not the most secure thing in the world, but it's solid enough that, you know, you can drive around, throw it around some corners and not have to worry about getting thrown out the car. I went ahead and pulled the little gauge bezel out right here, used a piece of scrap metal to make a new one. And I have I think it's a 52mm gauge, so I cut a 51mm hole into this. I'll probably need to take a die grinder, open it up a little more when it gets here. But I wanted to put a tachometer there, and I'm not paying the price they want for an OEM one. So I just went ahead and ordered a cheapy one, and I'm going to throw it in here. I have a hydraulic handbrake that will be getting put in here soon. I'm waiting on a couple of brake fittings. I have a whole bunch of brake fittings, but I'm missing the one size brake fitting that goes into the master for the handbrake. But until that gets here, she's just going to be driven. Went ahead and got the hood from my cousin. The story behind the hood is that he was driving it down the road, and the hood popped open and ripped off. And because it ripped off, it took the entire back cowl. That's why there's no cowl there, and you can just see into the cab where there's rust holes. This is obviously a really rusty truck. It ripped the hinges completely off of the truck when they flew off. So I'm just going to put some hood pins. I got holes drilled in the hood. One there, obviously one over there, and another one right over here. I'm working on pulling off the what are they called? Steering arm or idler arm or whatever you want to call them. I don't know the exact name, but I'm going to cut it and shorten it and get rid of the Ackerman's angle so I can get some more steering angle. And I also am going to be ordering some smaller, lower profile 15-inch tires. Now, this is where I need your guys' help. I'm trying to decide if I want to continue using these old 70s Toyota, white wall, white rim, whites. Should I go with these old Toyota rims that I got sitting here, which I also happen to have sitting on the back of that truck, but I have the whole set of rims, and I don't really know if I want to go with these, because the issue I'm having with these is the offset's wrong, and I would need a spacer. Now, the axle offset on this truck is exactly the same as the 77 620, and you can see that you can barely fit your finger between that tire and the frame, and you can see it's touching the leaf spring. Where the offset on these rims, you can see that I've got probably 2.5 inches, maybe even 3 between the tire and the frame. So I would need spacers to run those rims, but I'm really not a huge fan of these wheels. Those at least have some look to them that, you know, you could see on an older truck. But these, obviously going to have to run them for a while, but, you know, when I get new tires, I'll have the option. Do I want to use these rims or those? If I do end up with those, I will have to put 1.5-inch spacers on the fuel neck, which it will be going up through the bed right here into this here, and it'll come up right here, and then I'll bring it up over here. Thinking about dividing the box about here, putting a battery in it, and sealing it away from the gas. I want to clean up some room up here, because I've got a little surprise that I don't want to share with you guys just yet. I do got plans for this engine, which will either be getting a Z24 or Z22 block, but I will continue to use the U67 head. Probably going to go with a L20 earlier model L20 intake and exhaust, or an L16 or L18 intake and exhaust, because this one has the combined exhaust and intake, and it really does not like it. It's pulling oil into the cylinders and burning it, and I don't know where. You can hear it when you turn the motor over by hand that it's pushing air to the crankcase, so I think it's bad piston rings. I'm really hoping it's not, but that's why I was suggesting the Z24 block or Z22 block. I don't want to go through the process of rebuilding a motor or making, 100 horsepower. I'd much rather go with a Z24 block and the L20 head and get a little more power out of it. And I think I'm going to add a power adder. That's about all I'm going to tell you guys. You'll have to stick around to see what I'm going to add to it. But, till then, we'll keep her running.